the only way to find your limit is to cross it. And Sheldon himself's a really aggressive driver, and he gets after it and he pushes, and sometimes he crosses the line. But he's really fast too, and he can cross a line and get by with it, where some others can't get by with it, right? So these guys are still learning how to race. And I will say this, it is really frustrating to go to a late model race and see people just wreck all over each other. Because none of them have the money to do it. None of them have the time to spend fixing their cars. It's counterproductive to everybody. And you see it on the big races especially, you see it. But it's frustrating. I mean, when you're in the middle of it, it's frustrating. But, I will say that it's a really fine line. I always tried to be a really clean driver, and I was criticized for not being aggressive enough. But I raced where I was comfortable, and I raced where I thought was the right way to race for me. And that's what everybody's got to do. They got to decide what their code is. They got to decide what their moral is. If nobody ever rubbed anybody, we wouldn't have Dale Earnhardt, right? Mm-hmm. So aggressive racing is part of it. Being aggressive is part of it. But when you are aggressive, you're going to cross the line from time to time. And the more times you put yourself in that position, the more opportunities you have to cross that line. You walk a tightrope as a driver.
Is there one competitor that is working their way up you feel like has honed their craft as far as discipline is concerned?
Well, the one that, as far as in our lower series, the one, Austin Cindric's done an incredible job of turning. 2 years ago, he wasn't connecting the dots as far as going fast and also running all the laps and all that. Austin Cindric has done an amazing job of cleaning that up and figuring out how to do both. It's really hard to do. Very few people can do it. There's a reason not many Cup drivers have won more than 15 races or so. There's a reason. It's hard to do all those things. So they're learning how to do it. And a lot of times guys that are really good at racing other people and clean and all that, they're not as quick as the other guy, right? They got to learn how to be a little quicker. And so they're all learning what to do and how to do it. And William Byron's a great example. Tyler Reddick. William Byron's furious at Tyler Reddick. And, fair enough. Tyler Reddick may have cost William Byron, a win and a chance to move on in the championship because he was too aggressive. But he was driving the way he drives, and he felt bad about it. Like, he didn't mean to run into him, but he did run into him. And that's who he is. That's Tyler Reddick. That's who he is. And he'll, as good as he is, he'll start getting better and better and better at going fast, but also not making contact, not making those mistakes. But you got to go through that. You're not born. Denny Hamlin's better than they are. Period. Their goal is to get as good or better than him, but they're not going to do it right now. They got to learn to be better, and that takes time.
You won here twice before at the old configuration and layout. When you look back 2 decades ago when you were able to win in the 6-door colors, how meaningful is it to do so? Because I remember in 2000 it was one of the first few races you had with them, and then come back the year later to win it again.
Yeah, those Phoenix races mean a lot to me because we were really fast. We were just stupid fast and won them. And one of them, I quit happy hour like a half hour early, and I never did that. But my car I just didn't know how to make it better. That can't get any better. And we won that race. And I was nervous after I quit practice. I'm like, oh my God, that was probably stupid. But those races meant a lot to me because we just had a lot of speed. We were really fast in those races. And this is a fun racetrack. It really hadn't changed that much since then. They flipped, where the start-finish line is, but the actual track itself, the exit off of what's now turn 4 got opened way up. That, and the dog leg, but a lot of it drives, 1 and 2, and the entrance into 3, and the middle of 3, all that's the same. All that drives exactly the same as it did then. The exit of 4 and that dog leg is the biggest difference.